te waka, ko te maunga roa te tangata. Ko Taranaki, ko Pauakai, ko Kaitake, ko ia te puna i ke mai ai te tangata. Ko Taranaki te pau e ringa waka, te pau e ringa iwi, te pau e ringa tangata, te pau e ringa kaupapa, T.A. Mauri ora. Aira, Mauri ora I te wānau, nau mai, uki mai, and welcome back to another episode of Ngā Kanohi or Taranaki Iwi. This kaupapa is all about uri and their journey they have taken to become who they are today in this ever-changing world. Aira, Ngā Kanohi o Taranaki is all about uniting, uplifting and connecting wānau by sharing our unique stories that identify who we are as Ngā Uri o Taranaki Iwi. Aira I te wānau. So as you can see here, we have another one of our whanaunga here joining us today to kōrero about their journey and where they are currently placed in today's ever-changing world. So without further ado, we will introduce our next our whanaunga, joining us today. So tēnā koe e te whanaunga, ko wai koe, and no ia koe. Tell us who you are and whereabouts you are placed currently today.
Kia ora. Tēnā koutou katoa, ko kora hapu te waka, ko Taranaki te monga, ko Wanganui te awa, ko Ngā moto te kāinga te turu, no Ototahi ahau, ko Taranaki te iwi, ko Ngāti Tairiri toko hapu, ko Kelly toko whānau, ko Jamie Kelly toko ingoa, no reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Tēnā koe, Jamie. Kia ora, kia ora. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, my name's Jamie and live in Ototahi currently and wakapapa through my mother's side to Taranaki. And yeah, here today to talk about the journey and you know, how that's sort of relevant to my life. And yeah, so can you get into it?
Karawe, e te whanaunga, and thank you for joining us today. And I think it's going to be a special kōrero with you today because, yeah, just tell us for you. So you mentioned you're down there in Ototahi. Is that where you were born? So tell us a bit about where did it all start for you?
So yeah, I mean, I'm born here and always lived here in Ototahi. And it's interesting. So I am a tauwhero, which is social worker. That's my profession. And so throughout doing my social work degree here in Ototahi, a large component of that is learning about, you know, te ao Māori, kaupapa Māori, and, you know, a lot of the history as well, and the different iwi and how these all relate, and there's quite a lot of complexity in that. And, you know, so I had a lot of sort of general grounding in that coming out of my degree. And what sort of happened is, you know, my mother and my grandparents, you know, sort of looked into our history a bit more throughout while I was studying and just, you know, doing their own thing with that. And we were able to make some connections with Taranaki. And so actually it's only been this year that I have become properly registered with the iwi and looked into that more significantly. And so, yeah, that's sort of where I am today. So, I mean, it's been very interesting having a reasonable grounding in te ao Māori just through my degree. I wasn't raised with it, but just through my degree. And now having it a bit more personal and sort of what that means.
Rawe, so that must be a big part of, you know, discovery in the sense of, like you're saying, you've gone through your studies. There's a big component in there that is you, but through that I suppose it's taken you on another journey to look at, well, actually, what is your, you know, what your wakapapa is, and like you said, registering with the iwi this year. So tell me, what was that like for you in regards to reconnecting with that? So, like you mentioned, your mum, was it?
Yeah, my mother is sort of, it's through her side of the family. My dad's from the UK, so it's through her side of the family that we whakapapa. And yeah, I mean, it was really interesting because I was sort of late to jump onto it, really, in terms of my sister got registered and my mother got registered first, of course. And yeah, and then I kind of just thought, oh, you know, maybe this could be something that is more relevant to me. And what I'm sort of slowly coming to now is the realization that in my role as a social worker, as a tauwhero, you know, working in a kaupapa Māori way, and actually like that being a much larger component of my work that I'm doing going forward. And kind of, yeah, it's meaning a lot of different things really in that sense. So it's been it's been really good to connect and kind of learn more about the kaupapa that the iwi are doing and sort of the
Aye.
role that the iwi can have in the community. Because again, like coming from a background where I was raised just in a really European way, there isn't a lot of understanding of how all that works, and even having a bit of grounding in that just from my studies. But I mean, it's not the same thing as having a personal connection to the kaupapa. And so yeah, there's always more for me to be learning, which is really interesting.
Rawe. So growing up, so when was it, I suppose, like you say, you've mentioned your studies and,
Mm.
through that has connected you through, Te Ao Māori side, but as you were growing up, were you ever told by your mum around your Māori lineage, or did you have an
Um,
idea of that growing up down there in Ōtautahi?
Very, very little idea of that growing up. I think it would have been mentioned a few times, and this isn't a discredit to my mother at all, because she wasn't particularly raised in a Te Ao Māori way either. So it really, I would say for the whānau that's down here in Ōtautahi, it's only really been something that's come up in the last sort of 5 years, like in proper discussions with the whānau. At least that I've been a part of anyway.
Rawe.
So yeah, it's been a very recent development for me.
And I think, like you say, it's of no one's fault in relation to that. And I think, the whole, when you look at the present day, it's just lovely to see whānau like yourself, just being, I suppose, looking at, where they are placed in life, but also, not being afraid to connect with who you are. And I think that's a big thing. You think, you mentioned your mum and your sister have registered and you've registered yourself. Just, I suppose when you think about that, that's a big thing. And for,
Yeah.
and that's a common thing for a lot of our whānau out there is that, you know, growing up, they were unaware of their Taranaki Iwi wakapapa.
Mm,
But, to be able to go through a journey, and I suppose when you look at this kaupapa here, by you just sharing your story, it's just more around about uplifting and, whānau out there that may be in the same situation. And, and
mm,
that's kei te pai because we are all on a journey, and whatever that journey looks like or wherever you are placed at this present point of time,
mm,
that's okay. And I think that's one of the special things about talking with you today, Iti Whanaunga, is that, although your journey to connect with your iwi is still new, it has always been there. It's just at this time now is that it's coming to life. And I think the great thing about that is that whānau out there like yourself, it's never too late. And so tell me, with your reconnecting, because I understand you took part in the online Tiripawa
yeah.
kaupapa, and that's and it was quite cool because I seen the photo. So just for whānau, just some recollection out there for whānau. So what happens here to iwi is that whānau that would like to share their kōrero, we ask for a photo. We ask for a photo of themselves so that we can share it through the various communications forms that we do for this kaupapa. And there was the first thing that I noticed was that the photo that Jamie shared with us was the t-shirt, and I knew straight away, oh yes,
Yeah.
Jamie's been a part of the Tiripawa kaupapa. So tell me, with that kaupapa for yourself, Jamie, being virtual, what did that mean to you to be able to take part in that kaupapa, even though you're all the way down there in Ōtautahi?
Yeah, I think it was a really awesome opportunity to be able to show support for the iwi. And I think it's a really important to have events like that for us to connect, with our wakapapa and with the iwi kaupapa that's going on. Because like me living down here in Ōtautahi, I wouldn't really have any idea what's going on in Taranaki, and sort of, so it's really cool to be able to participate and like see some of the kaupapa. And also, I know that you guys do more kaupapa, like you've got can't remember what it's called, but the one where you're like helping people learn to grow their own kai, and some of the benefits of growing
Aye.
your own kai, and especially in our modern world with the way things are going with nutrition and stuff. And I think that that kind of kaupapa, because it can be used nationwide, and people can access it nationwide, makes a huge difference. So yeah, I thought it was really cool just to be able to see what the iwi are doing. And for me as a social worker, because I'm very interested in community development and community action, and seeing the role that iwi can have, for the wider community is really awesome.
Rawe, and that's correct, so the kaupapa that you're referring to is tātai tangata ki te whenua, so that's all around about, growing kai, and that kaupapa alone, is just, it's amazing. It's amazing to see wānau connect through the virtual forum, but also to be able to grow kai in their homes. And so it's all about kai resilience, really. So that's a big, another big kaupapa that we do. But I think what I would really like to kōrero with you about is what made you get into the mahi that you're doing at present?
Mm. I guess it's really interesting. I mean, if you had have asked me this question 3 years ago, I would have said it was extremely personal in terms of going through my own life experiences and wanting to help make a difference for others. But as I've come through my degree and I've now been working in a year and a half in a youth mental health service, and I'm currently moving on to the DHB as a social worker, my focus is moving much more towards wanting to make a difference for our communities, and for me, bringing in the kaupapa side of it, kaupapa Māori and te ao Māori, and that being much more personal, is something that I'm developing much more. Being mindful that those accessing our social services are disproportionately Māori. That I think it's so important to have those kind of connections. That when I work with people who are from Taranaki Iwi or any other Iwi or Pakeha, that we bring those Māori ways of working, which offer a lot of benefits. I mean, what got me into the work I do is, receiving assistance myself growing up and seeing that, I could do that myself. I could kind of learn to do this. But it's changed a lot more now into, seeing some of the issues that are facing our people and wanting to do something to try and make a difference. And I think that helping people, and you see it a lot in my line of work, people who are disconnected from their heritage, whether that's iwi heritage or whether it's out of New Zealand or what have you. A lot of people are kind of quite disconnected, and there are immense benefits for anybody to kind of find that connection. And in terms of iwi connection, finding that connection can actually mean real benefits. Tangible benefits. I mean, I just like to quickly say, I mean, I worked with one guy some time ago who needed some counselling, and he was able to get his iwi to pay for it. So there are actually a lot of benefits with reconnecting, I think.
And I think that's a big thing too, is that the connectedness in relation to who we are. I think with any being or any person, should I say, is that once when you have a grounding and you have a sense of who you are, that does speak volumes. And when you think about a lot of our whānau out there, like you've touched base on, for some of them they don't have that, or they're still trying to discover that. And I think that's a big thing around just having a place in this world. So I think just want to mihi to you, to be able to you personally too, and just being courageous in the way of being able to not be afraid to discover or to go on your own personal journey. And I think that's a key thing here, Te Wānau, is that no matter where we are in our lives, we're always growing. And I think, that's that whole concept of around about identifying or being who we are, and not to be afraid of who you are. And so that's a big thing, in today's society. So, when you think about your reconnecting there, Jamie, and the journey that it's taken you on, just share with one what it has meant for you to be able to start your reconnecting or your connection with your iwi back here in Taranaki.
Well, I think that it's been a very personal journey, I guess. And I think, like as you mentioned, you touched base on there, that we're always sort of developing, always learning new things, and always changing. And because this is such a relatively new thing for me in terms of it being so personal, with the learning more about te ao Māori and actually kaitiati, kaitiati-kanga and all the tikanga and stuff like that. I mean, considering that, I had learned about the tikanga going through my studies, but then actually, again, it being more personal makes a big difference. And so, I just think that having the opportunity to have some belonging with an iwi makes a huge difference for me. And again, like seeing some of the immense benefits in terms of like social action, if you want to call it social action, what I would call it, like with terms of the kind of kaupapa that iwi is doing, having the opportunity to take part in that, whether it's in person or whether it's more throughout nationwide, it makes it's something that's just really cool. And and it's something that I think is a net positive. It's just a net positive. You know what I mean? There's no real downsides to it.
That's right.
And I feel like if I could say this about the Taranaki Iwi from what I've seen, you guys are very approachable from a, well, I don't know what the right word, but like management side of things, in terms of like the board of trustees and stuff. Everyone seems really approachable, and you seem very open. So like I just think like it's really good for people to be able to connect to that, especially if we're talking about people that don't have a whole lot of connection. It makes a huge difference. And again, like I'm coming from a place where not really being raised in a Te Ao Māori way at all. So it's incredibly new for me. But it's been a great experience to actually see the kaupapa that's happening and having an opportunity to take part in it, which is why I thought, well, I like to take part in it here as well and do a small part to help the iwi. So.
Rawe. And Jamie, and that's you've hit it right on the head there, Te Whanaunga, around just you participating in this kaupapa today. Is very special because there are a lot of our whānau, like we've already spoken about earlier, that have been in a similar situation like yourself or are in that situation and are just trying to think, well, how is it that I can reconnect to who I am? And I think this is a big thing. And you've mentioned around the approachableness, the people that you're seeing that are a part of the board of trustees or in the operational space, like myself with Te Kahui o Taranaki Iwi, is that's a key thing about it, is that please don't ever feel wakama that you can't approach your whānau, because that's a big thing. And that's for me, and like I mentioned last week when we had our kōrero with our whanaunga dini, we are here to kōrero, we are whānau, and so don't ever think that you can't approach us just to have a discussion or a kōrero. But I think in essence too, don't be afraid to reach out and connect. To connect to something that is rightfully who you are. And I think that's a big message that I'm always wanting to put out to whānau, is that we are related, we are whānau, and it's through our wakapapa that connects us. And the big thing is here, like yourself, Jamie, even though you've only I suppose reconnecting and you're still at the early stages, that's okay, and the beautiful thing about this whanaunga is that you're going to go on a journey that's specifically you. And there is no right way or wrong way around what that journey looks like. But I think for me is that I want to encourage you to continue to go on that journey and to discover what it looks like for you as an uri of Taranaki Iwi. Well, that's beautiful. So, and like I say every week, I could sit here and talk with you for hours on end, but I understand you're a busy man as well. And but I would just like, just like to give you this opportunity, if there's anything that you'd like to share with whānau who are watching this in regards to our kōrero today, was there, any closing words that you'd like to share with us today?
Only thing I'd like to share, I think, is, I think that it's certainly, I think it's very important for whānau to, engage with the iwi kaupapa, even if it is only in a small way, because the iwi is only as strong as the people and the tangata that are a part of it. And I think that even if we only contribute in small ways, and again, in my case, being an ototahi, not having that physical connection so much, that even participating in small kaupapa makes a huge difference. And even thinking about if you are in a case like where I am, in a profession where you do have the opportunity to use more of that Te Ao Māori stuff and more of that tikanga, certainly I think it's super important to think about bringing that sort of kaupapa into your practice, and not letting anyone tell you that that's not okay, or this is part of who we are, and we share, who we are, and also thinking about as well, if you want to help people connect with their iwi too, something that can be very, very powerful.
Rawe. Ka mau te wehe te whanaunga. Thank you very much. Thank you again for being a part of this kaupapa and for sharing your kōrero. I just want to mihi to you and to your wānau down there in Ōtautahi, and just wish you all the best. And just really, really, it's been really great speaking with you and just with you sharing your kōrero, because I know that your kōrero will resonate for a lot of our wānau out there. And the one thing that I'd like to say is that wānau, wherever you may be placed in this world, please, please, please don't ever think that you can't reach out and kōrero and connect. So from us here at home, and to our wānau near and far, we want to wish you all the best. And if you'd like to be a part of this kaupapa, please, 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 come along, and just like our whanaunga here today, Jamie, please share your kōrero. We'd love to have you taking part in this kaupapa also. So, e ngā maunga, e ngā kōrero, e ngā maunga wakai, kua mutu te kōrero o te rānei, tēnā koutou katoa, pai marire.
Kia ora.